Hi guys, now that you are done answering all the questions and I have poked you very well about the importance of journaling, how do you feel? I know you probably feel different. You're probably looking at what you penned and you're like, I didn't realize this about myself. This is something we're going to make available, an additional resource. You're going to do a self-assessment test. Because you have enrolled for this course, you have access to the self-assessment test. It's free and it's online. All you just have to do is to click on it and do the assessment. This particular lesson is about discovery. Sometimes we hear people tell us this about ourselves and you're like, oh, I'm like this. A few days back, I went out on a professional event with an industry colleague. At the end of the event, we were giving each other feedbacks and we decided to talk about 3 things we liked about each other. Guess what? I was so surprised that somebody would describe me as really sweet and very strict. Can you imagine? Well, I probably had an idea that that's how I am, but to hear it from someone was quite helpful because it gave me room to reflect. Because she said, I am very particular about details. If something is not working, it's not working. Someone cannot give me 5 when I asked for 6. I mean, those were literal words. And they're still playing in my head right now. Now, you see what I mean by discovery. So because of my journaling habits, I was actually able to reflect on what she said. And I realized that that's actually a good feedback. But I also reminded myself that I have to make sure that it's always balanced whenever I'm interacting with people, so as not to be too strict and not to be too sweet. Now, that is just a typical example of how I'm still discovering myself. With the self-assessment test you're going to take, or the personality test, you realize that your skill set and your personality often work hand in hand. And I cannot wait for you to discover yourself. Because at the end of that test, you'll begin to see why some things come naturally to you and some things are just difficult. And guess what? That is not a problem. It just helps you recognize the gaps and what you need to work on, which is what we're going to talk about in the next lesson. So, at the end of this particular lesson, ensure you take the personality test and prepare yourself for the next lesson. See you guys there.